Today, we'll be going over the new way of doing email marketing for your e-commerce brand going into 2024 and beyond. Recently, there have been a ton of changes to Google's policy on sending and receiving emails, but there are also a couple of other changes that you're going to want to know about. The first thing that you're going to want to know about is the changes in Google's policy this year. Previously, you could do whatever you wanted within an ESP. You sent through a server that Klaviyo or another email service provider would provide to you, and you borrowed the shared reputation of all the users of that server. At one point, you could even send through a Gmail account. But now Google have clamped down and they want to see that you are a reputable sender. You now need three things to do so. You're going to need an SPF record and a DKIM record in your DNS settings. These authenticate your domain and show that your emails are coming from a legitimate source. The second thing that you're going to need is a DMARC record. This prevents your own domain being harmed by any phishing or spoofing. The third thing that you're going to need is a branded sending domain. Now you need to have your own sending domain, and it's your reputation and yours alone that determines the health of that domain. So after you've acquired your own branded sending domain, you're going to want to keep a close eye on your metrics in the short term. You're going to want to make sure that you have at least 40% plus open rates, at least 0.5% click-through rates in your campaigns, and less than a 0.2% unsubscribe rate. As well as this, you want to enable a one-click unsubscribe feature, which is going to help keep your list very clean and reduce spam complaints. Finally, you want to align your sending domain. The from header in your emails must align with either the SPF record or the DKIM record. This ensures consistency and reliability in the sender's identity. The second thing you're going to want to focus on in 2024 is having minimalistic designs. The reason we're seeing minimalistic designs work so well for our clients right now is because that loud, heavily designed style of emails can often just scream to people that you're marketing to them. Whereas a more plainly designed email flies a little bit under the radar, and it seems like you're getting an email from a real brand that cares about you as a customer. So how can you do this? The first thing you're going to want to focus on is having a clean layout. This means utilizing white space effectively and creating a clean layout that is easy to the eye to scan and read. We're also going to look for a simplified color scheme, because too many colors on the email are going to drag people's eyes all over the place, and it makes it far more difficult to navigate. Within that, we're also going to want clear typography to maintain focus on the content, making it easy to read and get the core message of the email as quickly as possible. The other thing is that simplified designs actually enhance readability as well, especially on mobile devices, which we're going to touch on in just a second. Finally, minimal designs actually have faster load time. There is nothing worse than when you open an email from a brand, because there's so much content within there and the file size of the email is so large, it actually takes a couple of seconds to load within the customer's inbox. I want to jump to point 3 here, which is actually having a mobile focus. The reason you want to focus on mobile is that more and more emails are being opened on mobile over desktop every single year. Some estimates even say that up to 78% of all emails are now being opened on mobile instead of desktop. With our clients, we're seeing often that up to 90% of their traffic is actually from mobile now. So we see this trend only increasing over the coming years. Before we talk about the steps to optimize for mobile, I want to talk to you about something we call the desktop bias. Because we design on desktop computers most often, we actually have a bias towards making the email look good on desktop first rather than mobile. This is completely the wrong way around, because like I said, up to 90% of our clients' traffic is actually coming from mobile devices. So it makes no sense to focus on the 10% first instead of the 90%. With that in mind, the first thing that you want to do to be mobile focused is to actually center align all of your content. Make sure that all of the content fits into the mobile version of the email, and then go into desktop view and ensure that it fits into desktop afterwards. The second thing you want to do is to keep an eye on left and right padding, so then the email is actually easily able to be rescaled if needed. The third thing that you want to do is that content on images such as call to action buttons or headlines need to be readable on mobile first. So ensure that when you're putting this in, look at the mobile version of the email first and then switch to desktop to see if it's readable on desktop afterwards. The fourth and final thing is that you want to do your quality control check on mobile first and then desktop after. When you're about to send, this ensures that there are no issues with links or images or headlines or buttons. Finally, to ensure that you're doing email marketing properly in the new way in 2024 is to understand what metrics you need to be looking at within your email account. Since iOS 15 in September of 2021, Apple has made it so that all people using Apple Mail or opening emails on an Apple device are automatically opening all the emails. This inflates our open rates, so the old 20% open rates that you were looking to get in the past are no longer relevant. You want to look for a higher open rate on average, and we suggest at least 40% on campaigns and 50% on flows as your benchmark. The new flow click-through rate standard is going to be around 5%. The new campaign click-through rate standard is going to be between 0.5% and 1%, but the higher you can get that, the better. Finally, we want the account-wide unsubscribe rate to be below 0.2%. That shows us that people are enjoying getting our messaging, and we could potentially even increase volume, especially on the campaign side. And while we do need to adapt to the latest changes that we're seeing, it is still important to focus on the perfect fundamentals of what makes great email marketing. That means putting a huge emphasis on how we acquire email list subscribers, how we convert those subscribers into paying customers, and how we convert those customers into becoming lifelong advocates and fans of the brand who buy over and over again and refer their friends. All of which I go over in this video here. Go check it out, and I'll see you in the next one.